Here we go. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for joining us today. Thank you and welcome to another unscripted interview for The Village. Just a few housekeeping things before we get started. If you have not done so already, please mute your microphone so that way we can get the best audio on this recording. Second, if you have questions that you would like for us to ask Garrett, please put those in the chat and we will work them into our conversation. And we'll be sure to make sure we try to get to all of those for the time allotted. So thank you again for joining us today. Our guest for Unscripted today is Mr. Garrett Williams, Scout Executive for the Central Georgia Council. Garrett, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate you taking time to speak with us.
Hey, man, thank you for the opportunity. Absolutely humbled that you would have me as your guest today.
Awesome. Well, Garrett, let's get started at the beginning, man. How did you find out about professional scouting? How did you get into this career?
Well, although I was a scout as a youth, I'm not going to say I was a very good one down there in my hometown. I did not know that there was a professional side to the scouting organization, that you could actually do this for a living. So while I was up in Memphis, Tennessee, working out, still thinking I could play basketball or whatever, I saw a partner of mine in the gym at the time that was working for the Chickasaw Council there. He was in a suit, never saw him in a suit before, so I thought he had something going on and I needed to ask him a question. And he let me into the realm of what was going on, and that there was a professional opportunity there in scouting in Memphis.
Gotcha. So where'd you go to school?
I went to school there in Memphis at Lemoyne College, small HBCU there on the south side of town.
Gotcha. All right. And so this conversation with this gentleman, what did he tell you was the scouting profession? How did he get your interest?
Well, he got my interest. When you start talking about scouting, obviously I was familiar with it from just the programmatic and the very granular level, having been a scout as a youth. But what he imparted on me was that it was an opportunity to really make an impact in the community. And of course, the relationship building piece of it that I thought was unique for, a nonprofit organization. So, just those little nuggets that he gave me, and then the opportunity to interface and grow and develop, future leaders appealed to me. And so that was the thing that got me interested and allowed me to move forward, at least with those steps of presenting myself to local leadership and having the opportunity to interview and then being accepted for a position.
That's cool. Now, you mentioned you were a scout. Talk to us about your scouting career. Where did it start and where did it end?
Yeah. So I grew up in a town, Lakeland, Florida, actually Eden Park, but we call it Lakeland, in Polk County, Florida, central part of the state. Had opportunity to briefly be in a Cub Scout program, and very loose fit program. And then I had an opportunity with a neighbor that down the street from.
Yeah, because they had to put them in the system and it get.
That's my boy Martez. So, but I had opportunity to see him in a troop, and I got connected to a Boy Scout troop there in town, Troop 116, that was chartered by the Resurrection Catholic Church. And that kind of got me started there in scouting, got all the way up to the star rank, had the opportunity to do some things that I probably wouldn't have done if I didn't get involved in scouting. Went to the National Jamboree as a youth, went to the World's Fair in Knoxville the following year. So it allowed me and a couple of guys from north side of town to be a part of a troop. And we had overall, I would say, at that time and in that era, some positive experience. And, we, wasn't in terms of people of color, in terms of, let me just put it blank, black males, it wasn't a whole lot of us involved with the program at that time. So, there were some other challenges that we faced, but we dealt with it and we kept moving.
That's cool. Now, walk us through your professional career. You said you started in the Chickasaw Council.
So I started absolutely. I started as a district executive in the Chickasaw Council. I worked the North Memphis area We called it the nasty North at that time. And so that was where I started. In 96, I moved on to the Last Frontier Council as a senior exploring executive. While in the Last Frontier Council for a couple of years, I got promoted to be a field director, and then had the opportunity to go back to Memphis as a director of field service in the spring of 2003. So that's kind of been my journey. And then around 2009, was able to get the opportunity here to be Scout Executive in the Central Georgia Council.
That's good. Now, I've always been told if you're doing this job well, you'll definitely have that opportunity for advancement and promotion through our organization. But I'm sure other organizations, as you were speaking with them, whether it's about donating to scouting or starting new scouting programs, was pulling at you to try and come work for them. What's kept you in the profession over your 29 years?
Those are the ones that he found.
Yeah, I would say,
before you answer that, people,
sure.
Please mute your microphone so that way we can have good audio on this. Thank you very much.
I think for me, it all boils down to the mission, what we're about, what we have the opportunity to still accomplish. The job is not done. And so when I leave every day and I get up every morning, I do get up excited about what the next frontier is going to be. What is the next challenge going to be? Every time, in this 24 county area that I serve, and I have opportunity to go into another county, and you visit them, at random every year. There's always something. And even yesterday, being in one of our most rural county, a very poor county, and you realize what people are still having to conquer, even in 2023.
But I guess the same thing is this.
It puts it all in front of you to let you know how important the role that we have and the job that we're doing to get young men and women into this program. So it's the mission and the impact that we can have, and not just on the youth that are going to be involved, but we do a very good job, I feel, of empowering adults, empowering families, empowering those that may not have ever seen or been in a leadership position. All of a sudden they get a taste of scouting and they get to believe in themselves and grow confident in what their abilities can be. And so those things there, I think, keep driving me and keep pushing me and wanting to see more happen for youth all in our in scouting.
You said something there, man, that really resonated with me. The work isn't done yet. And, after 29 years in the profession, and to hear the fire that you have for this program is really refreshing to hear that. When you talk about the work not being done, where do you see scouting today, and where do you see it going in the next, say, 5, 10, 15 years?
Well, obviously, coming through what we've been through, you never are the same, right? You shift, and you have to figure things out a little bit differently. And so, where we are today and where I see it today, I still see the program and the mission that we have as being relevant to the market that we are serving. We just have to figure out maybe different ways to approach those markets. Let's face it, the price tag that we have on scouting, although it is necessary to accomplish the goals that we're needing to accomplish, can be, a deterrent to some. So we have to figure out ways to work around that and figure out ways to still make this program relevant to people. I think at the end of the day, in terms of where we still have to go, we still have to put this program in a position and put ourselves in a position where the average everyday Joe understands who we are and what we are about. That when we say this program is available for everybody, we have to put ourselves in position to create those opportunities, whether there's economic challenges or not. And so I think leading forward, those are some of the things that we're just going to have to figure out, because there's a swath of land out there that still needs to be conquered. As it says, the work is plentiful, but the laborers are few. And so we've got to make sure that we're giving that we're creating those opportunities that are going to be attractive to all individuals, no matter the backgrounds, that want to be a part of this program and make it available to them.
No, I agree with you on that. When you think about the percentage of total available youth that we're serving across the country, we've got a long way to go to continue to introduce new families and even, families that have been in our community for years about the benefits of what our program can do.
Mm-hmm.
Garrett, you don't stay with one organization for 29 years without having some success. And
Hey, Alan, I lost you a little bit there. Can you repeat that?
I'm sorry, you still got me?
Yeah, I hear you now. Can you repeat what you're about to say?
Okay. No, I was saying that you haven't been with one organization for 29 years without having some tricks of the trade. What are some of those things that have helped you along your professional journey to help you be successful?
Well, I think, no one makes it by themselves, right? And I'm very appreciative to all the individuals that have mentored me along the way. All those individuals that have sponsored me along the way, and there is a difference, right? And so, I think I want to start there because, whether it was a conversation that was a soft talk or a conversation that felt like I was back in the locker room, at any point, I needed both of those to stay grounded and to keep moving. I think the biggest thing is with anything that we do, especially as you continue to grow in our profession, is our ability to communicate the needs of our organization, your needs professionally speaking. And so I think, communication, being able to relate, being able to be patient on things that I needed to be patient on. I think those have been, for me, and it's going to be different for everybody, been those keys to success for me. And so being able to look, listen, and learn, and being willing to hear and listen before I speak have helped me a whole lot. So those are the things that I think for me have been the backbone that have allowed me to grow and to mature. And still, I feel growing and developing. It never stops. And so, being able to accept coaching when I need it have been those things that have helped me.
That's cool. You mentioned mentor and sponsorship. We've got some new executives on the line. Can you explain the difference between mentorship and sponsorship for our group here?
Yeah, for me, I think mentorship is that coach, that individual that's going to sit down with you and show you the ropes and take you through the things that you need to be taken through, and your willingness to accept that coaching. That doesn't mean that everything you get you may not accept everything, but I think that you're given a bucket of opportunity there, and you have an opportunity to kind of pick and choose from those mentors what you think is valuable for you. I think, as Mama used to tell me, that sponsor is that individual that's going to go in that room and talk about Allen Parks and say all the positive things they need to say about Allen Parks. But the way Mama always said, you don't need that individual to have a qualifier when they start talking about Allen Parks. I don't need them to put "but" behind that name of Allen Parks. Just believe that Allen Parks can get the job done. And that's what, to me, sponsorship is all about. Now, that doesn't mean that sponsor, after saying whatever needs to be said, all glowingly and wonderful and flowery about me, doesn't meet me at the crossroads afterwards and let me know and said, "Hey, old boy, this is what I said about you." Now, these are the things that we need to see and make sure you work on these things. But they go in that room and they talk you up. And they talk you up where people understand that you are the individual that can get the job done.
No, I'm glad you did that, because I know for some that are just starting in the profession, they don't know, those terms. And I think, mentorship, that's something that you hear a lot, especially in communities, about how we work with kids and things like that. But that sponsorship is so important as you're looking to advance in your career, or even in the community sometime, to have that sponsor out there to vouch for you, to say, hey, listen, he's coming to talk about scouting, and let's, give him the attention he needs, because this is a program that will work for our community. So it can not only work for you as a professional and trying to advance your career, it can help you out in the communities as well, as you're looking to start scouting programs and establish relationships in the community.
That's right. That's right. I appreciate you saying that. And we need those individuals that are going to speak up for us and talk up for us and be drum majors for us when we're out there in the field working to make it happen, working to spread this wonderful movement that we have the opportunity to serve.
Yeah, absolutely. I know you have new executives that start from you from time to time, and what's the guidance, what's the advice that you give a brand new executive starting this profession to help them, get off to a right start?
Yeah, Rome wasn't built in a day, so give yourself a little bit of grace. Just because you see someone with a little bit more experience posting everything they're posting on the wall, remember they've kind of had some repetition at this, so you're just getting started. And I think that, for me, and with anybody that I have the privilege to coach is, sometimes we got to kind of set people up for wins so they can grow and build some level of confidence. And so, those are the things I try to tell them, come in, give yourself a little bit of grace, understand this is going to be a cycle of opportunity that's going to be presented in front of you. The things that you like to do, you're probably going to do very well at on the OnStar. The things that may be a challenge to you, those are the things that we need to build your confidence up in and allow that to happen. Don't be afraid to make a mistake, right? Majority of the times, the mistake that you're making are not going to be detrimental. But just like any coach, all of us can take hustle mistakes, and I can take a hustle mistake any day of the week. And so we can fix that. So I encourage them to make those hustle mistakes, and don't be afraid to do that. The reason why we hired you, the reason why we're putting you out there to make things happen is because we are confident in you, we believe in you, and we want to see you be successful. I've never seen anybody being hired where nobody wanted to be successful. So, you spend time, coaching them up, empowering them, and letting them know that they have the opportunity to make a difference. And then with everything that you can catch, that lightning, that bolt of lightning that you catch, that gleam in their eye that you can catch after that first win, you ride that win until the wheels fall off with them, and until they get a next win. And then through that process, I believe, if any individual, they begin to build muscle memory. And if they build that muscle memory and we give them an opportunity to do that, the more success that they're going to have, the more confident they're going to be, and I love to see them when they walk in the office, when they're confident and they're standing up straight, looking you straight in the eye. And especially when they get to the point where they don't think you could tell them anything anymore. I like that too. So I think those are the processes and steps that I like to take with anybody new that's coming into the profession. Just believe in yourself, because we believe in you. We're going to coach you up, and don't be afraid to make a hustle mistake. We can accept that.
That's why I love we record these, man, because you got some nuggets in there just then, man, especially for those new managers out there. The one that stands out for me is, set your new employees up for a few wins early. A lot of times they're coming in, they don't know which way is left or where the restroom is or anything like that. So if you can set them up for a few wins that, they can start feeling good about themselves like yourself, that goes a long way. And then, the hustle mistakes, man, that's a good one as well. So again, for those new managers out there, man, I hope you guys are taking notes. And if you're not, check out the recording later and listen to that again, because I think it was some really good nuggets in that section just then. If you had to look back on your fondest memory so far, Garrett, of your profession, if you had to point to one, maybe two of your fondest memories in scouting, what would you say they are?
Oh, wow. I tell you, golly, there's so many. I've been blessed to work with some really good people, man, bar none. And I think, I can't really identify one, but there's all just a collection of, having the opportunity to start my career in the Chickasaw Council, being able to work there. And one of the programs that we were able to kick off while I was there, and just a DE before I moved on to Oklahoma City, was our relationship with the Memphis Police Department and developing scout troops through the Memphis Police Department ranks. And a sponsor of mine, Melvin Burgess. Melvin was one of those guys, he's going to tell you like it is. And you may not like how it come out of his mouth, but he's going to tell you like it is. He bought into it and was a great district chairman for me as an entry-level district executive, and showed me the ropes and helped me build confidence in myself. My time in Oklahoma City, being given that opportunity to elevate to a position of field director, it was one of those things. And I tell my staff this, interviews come in all forms, and some are formal and some are informal. Sometimes you're interviewing and you don't even know you're interviewing. And at that moment, that was a moment that I cherished, was that opportunity that was provided to me when I get called to the office and say, hey, we're going to be putting you in this position, and just was asking me questions. And then being able to have that opportunity and not even thinking about why you're asking me these questions until you get called back a couple of days and saying, hey, we want to put you in here. And I said, I didn't interview for it. He said, yeah, you've been interviewing for it since you've been here. I go, all right, cool. But from that, being able to create opportunities for others. And then even now, whether it be a director of field service or even scout executive, I think the biggest thing for me is seeing people grow and seeing people develop. And those are the things that I cherish, and having those opportunities, even when we're out there in the field, putting on quality events and different things of that nature, whether it's in the headquarters city or one of the smallest rural communities that we have. I want everything to look the same, because people got kinfolk everywhere. And when they talk about our program, I want them to know that the experiences that we provided in the headquarters city are going to be robust and going to look the same that we're going to provide, whether you in a county with only 5,000 people. You're going to get the best of us. And I think when I see, for me, the smile on people's faces when they come to an event and they enjoy it and they feel like they've been successful and they've been part of a winning team, those are the things that I cherish the most. And that's what I like to do. Gotcha.
Let's flip that coin over. What's that moment or that experience, if you can have it back and do it over, what would you say that is?
I think, for me, and that might be different than others. When you get into a new position and you still have to mature, there's always things that you may have done that you could look back and say, I could have done differently. You don't dwell on it, but thank goodness for the man upstairs, grace and mercy that you're able to develop and things. So there's those things that I said, hey, I could have done that differently here. I could have had a different conversation with an individual here. Those are things that I always kind of look back on because I think anytime you're in the positions that we're in, where we get to elevate people and talk people up and coach them up and build their confidence, you never want to be in a position, you got to have tough conversations sometimes. But I think how you have those tough conversations can make a difference. And so those are the things that sometimes I look back on. You coming in, you're young, and you just want to conquer the world. And doggone it, nothing's going to get in your way. And so, some of us are just built that way, and all of us are built that way to a certain extent. So there's those things that you can look back at and say, hey, I could have positioned a few things a little bit differently. But overall, it's been good.
That's excellent. Scouting is really going through a lot in these last couple of years. It almost feels like we haven't had a year in the last 5 or 6 where there hasn't been a big controversy or change or something that has affected, our overall organization. Knowing that we have gone through so many different changes, how has that affected you as a professional? And what would you tell, one of those long tenured professionals, just like you give them that advice on the new professionals on how to be successful early, someone that's been in 10, 15 years and they're looking at the horizon or what's happened over the last couple of years, what's your encouragement for them to tell them to hold on?
I would say this, Scotty, it seems like this has been going on since 2011, 12 and beyond, some of it beyond that. So it's been a while, right? Over 12, 13 years, there's been something happening, a shoe dropping all the time. We're all going to have those moments, right? Where you just kind of, you want to put your head down and you just kind of scratch your head a little bit and say, man, this is getting to me, right? You're human. None of us are robots. And we always have to remember that. But I think the biggest thing that you have to do, for everybody, you got to be willing to pick up the phone and talk to people. Sometimes as scout executives and senior level leadership, we get so isolated in our own positions that, we fail to realize that somebody might be going through the same thing that you're going through or feeling the same way that you're feeling at that particular moment. However, they don't know to call you, but you don't necessarily know to call them. And sometimes hearing another voice on that side of the phone, and not that you're griping or complaining, but sometimes you just need to spend some time lifting each other up. And so I think through that process of all of this, I would tell anybody, hang in there, yeah, it's going to be tough. But the reality of it is that for most cases, you're probably built for times like this, and you just don't know it yet.
I love that advice, man, to pick up the call and call someone. I love that.
So sometimes you have to do that and just talk. And then I would say the other thing is sometimes you got to be willing, and I'm not saying I'm the best at this, but sometimes you got to be willing just to take a step back just a little bit. Give yourself time to breathe, relax, sharpen your saw. If you're familiar with sports, right? What's the one thing that's a constant in sport? There's always a halftime.
Yeah.
And sometimes you got to create some half times for yourself, and be willing to take a step back, take a breather, take a step away from that moment to look at it from not necessarily inside looking out, but outside looking back in, and give yourself a chance. And so that's what I would say to anybody, communicate, talk to others, understand that you're going through this process. You're built for the moment. You just don't know it yet until you really get through it, and you're going to get through it. And be willing to create little half times for yourself. If they could do it in the big leagues, we could do it for ourselves as well.
I hear you, man. That's excellent. That's excellent. Let's have a little fun, Garrett.
Yeah.
Who is that leading actor in the Garrett Williams biography? Who's playing Garrett Williams in your movie?
Man, I don't know, man. I don't know. Man, there's so many cats out there, man. That's a good one, man. I could go old school and go to my brother Clifford Roundtree, brother Roundtree there, Mr. Shaft himself. You go Samuel L. Jackson every once in a while. You got to have that moment in you. And you just got to tell it like a TIS is. And, so there's a lot of guys out there. So those would be a couple of them. You got to have that smooth moment, but then every now and then you got to have that edge about you as well, too. And then every now and then you need to be able to be a chameleon like Denzel Washington to be able to do a lot of different things. So I think, you can comprise yourself of a variety of different folks at that moment.
I hear you. If I jump in your car right now, what's on that playlist? What song's coming on when I jump in?
All right. So, I kind of mix a bit of some new stuff, old stuff, I'll take you down the street where, there's this young lady, man, that's really good, man, named Samara Joy. She's a jazz artist, man. She is really, really good, man. And if you haven't listened to her, you need to peep game and listen to her, man. She's got some talent. You're never gonna go wrong with one of the Whalen brothers or the Marsalis brothers. You're never gonna go wrong there. And then you're gonna find some hip hop and rap. I'm a Florida boy by birth, original. And so, it's going to be some regulated music from down there, some JPE. You got to be from Florida to understand what that is, and some bass stuff. But then, I'll take it up to the East Coast. I know everybody's going to say Jay-Z, but there's some lyrical assassins up there. Like Jada Kiss and Busta Rhymes. Those guys, Big L. They could really do it. I'll take you out to the West Coast. I mean, I got to have a little Cube in there because he's got about 5 or 6 classics. Then I can't not have some of my Texas boys in that. I'm going to have Sweet James Jones and Bun B. I got to have them, so I got to have that in there. I'm going to take it to Louisiana. I'm going to have a little bit of that in there. And, I got to take you to Orange Mound, Tennessee. I got to take you there. I know Martez know who I'm talking about. I got to have Ball and MJG and Skinny Pimp. I got to have them classics right there. And, boys, them production boys in 3-6. However, saying what I'm saying, I've got to say this to you. The South always gonna have something to say. And it's them boys out of Atlanta. Dungeon Family, them boys outcasts.
Yeah.
They've been platinum since coming out of the womb. And you got to give credit where credit is due. Nobody has more platinum albums than them. So you're gonna see a lot of Cadillac dipping and everything else. So and then
of many ears here.
Yeah.
Talented ear.
Yeah. And then, I'll still, put on, that country music artist who can really sing, man. That Chris Stapleton dude.
Yeah.
And he's really talented. He can sing. And so there's a variety of stuff that you're going to find, man. And I just keep it wide open and somewhat eclectic in my taste.
I hear you, man. You walk in the grocery store and you buy that lottery ticket and it's a winner. You get the 38 million. What's the first thing you buy?
Well, first thing I'm gonna do is hide just for a minute. That's what I'm gonna do first, because I've been a few places, you know what I'm saying, and so probably if anything, I want to take care of home first.
Mm-hmm.
Got to take care of the queen first, and just make sure she has what she wants first.
Yeah.
And then whatever she tells me I can have second, then I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out from there.
I hear you. So do you have a wife and kids?
I have a wife and a child.
Okay.
My wife, we've been together 32 years, married 24 years.
Okay.
And my daughter is a sophomore in college at Kennesaw State, and a chemistry major there. So she's doing well. Gotcha.
You're a dog or cat guy?
Huh?
Dogs or cats?
I can't stand cats, man. I'm just gonna put it out there. They too sneaky, man. I just don't do cats, man. They just can't have them in the house. I don't want to see none of that. But I'll do a dog. I would be a dog guy.
Gotcha. I'm with you with cats, man. Cats are sneaky.
Yeah.
Favorite dessert?
Man, it's something about a good old pound cake. That's good with ice cream on there. That's always good for me. It's simple, but it's good. And then I tend to like cobblers, whether it be apple or peach, and a pie here and there. But and then I'll throw in a little carrot cake or something like that. But it tends to be something a little simple, for me.
Gotcha. Talk, text, or email? What's your preference?
Now I'm gonna pick up the phone and call
Okay.
Yeah, I'll text you. Then when I get tired of texting, I just say, man, you know what? I'm spending too much time trying to catch cramps in my thumbs. So I'm just gonna go ahead and give you a call.
Gotcha. Eroy Burns just asked, were you Greek? So I'll give you a chance here to shout out your newts there.
Well, yeah, that is true. Beta Mu chapter, big money, Beta Mu fall 89. Kappa Alpha Psi Phi Nu Path Frat, so nice they named it twice. I didn't catch Martez in enough time, although I've been knowing him since he was a scout in our program there in the Chickasaw Council, camp staff and everything. But he allowed us to coach and counsel him through that process. But I didn't catch him before he decided to become a Q. So, but I forgive him though. I still love him.
On a scale from 1 to 10, how good of a driver are you?
I'm at least an 8 or 9. I'm good at what I do. Yeah, I'm good at what I do. Yeah.
I hear you. What's your leadership pet peeve? What's that thing that gets under your skin?
Oh, wow. Probably too many, but I guess the biggest thing is if you don't say no before you problem solve the situation. You know, don't discount something until you really problem solve it. And so what may be considered an impossibility for you might not be an impossibility for somebody else. So before we discount anything, let's problem solve the situation to ensure that we've done our homework.
I got you. This will be the last one for you. Not a solo artist, but what's the best non-solo artist for you? What's that group that's the best out there, or that was the best, past or present? Your choice.
Oh, wow. I'm probably gonna, go maybe a little bit old school. Golly, there's so many, man. Man, Gap Band is always good. The OJ is always good. Barcade is always good. Them boys up in Ohio, the Ohio players, there's like about 100 of them in that band. It's just so many, man, so many talented artists that are out there that do such a great job. But those are just a few that I could think of at this particular time.
Gotcha. Well, Garrett, this has been fun, man. I really appreciate you taking the time. Folks out there, if you got questions for Garrett, shoot those in the chat or unmute yourself right now and ask that question. If you got any questions for Garrett, we'll give you about 60 seconds to unmute yourself or type it in the chat, and I'll be sure to get it to him here. And I'll ask him a few more questions while you guys are getting ready for that. You have a favorite book or a book you would recommend for people?
Yeah, there's a book that I'm reading right now by what's the author's name? Jordan, 12 Rules of Life. Okay. So I'm reading that right now. It's pretty good. He's a pretty matter-of-fact guy, very intelligent guy out of Canada. He's from Canada originally. And but he's got a book that I think is pretty good, cool. It's just matter-of-fact stuff, just basic common sense stuff, but I think it's a pretty cool read. 12 Rules of Life.
Gotcha. What are you looking forward to the most for the remainder of 2023?
Just continuing to create high impact opportunities for youth and families in Middle Georgia. Being able to see this staff that we have here progress. We just promoted for the first time in this council. We have 2 young ladies that happen to be Black in 2 of our key leadership positions. One by the name of Lakeisha Howard, she's a development director. And the other one, Jade Phelps, who's our assistant scout executive. And, I'm so proud of them that they were willing to step up in those roles. And as I explained to both of them, I said, this hasn't happened before in this operation. So you're the first females, period. And you're the first African-American females to ever be in these positions. And Lakeisha, she's going to do a fine job. She's very creative. She's got I like to say she's got a little chip on her shoulder, which I like to see. And she charges hard. Jade is more methodical in her approach. Jade hadn't been in the profession long, but I'm the type of guy, when you think about it from a sports context, I don't necessarily look at tenure. I look at leadership acumen and your ability, I think, to get things done. And I believe in playing freshmen. And so she has a leadership acumen about her that I think is going to do this profession well. And as she told me, well, I don't know everything yet. I said, you never will, but are you willing to learn? Yes, that's all I need to know. And so I said, we'll coach you up, but one thing you can't teach is if they got some leadership about them, you better take that and you got to harness that and you got to move them forward.
That's awesome, man. Tracy Tekoff puts in the comment, thank you for recruiting Sin Kennedy to chair Scout Day at the Capitol for Georgia. And he asked, make a comment on top-level community people that help us in scouting, please.
Yeah, I think, and let me just say with Tracy, Tracy has definitely been just an excellent leader, a top-level leader in our movement. And especially for our Scout executives here in the state of Georgia, while we were going through all the issues, whether it be pandemic and or otherwise, we were pretty isolated. And Tracy did a wonderful job of just reaching out to every one of us and making sure that we stayed connected. And so his leadership to us is appreciated. And I value our conversations that we have every few weeks. In terms of top level leadership, I would like to say those are the things that we talk about all the time as Scout executives, whether that be making sure that we're connecting with the politicians in our community, because in each one of our communities, there's always going to be legislation that could change the way that we do business here in local councils. And so our mission and our role is to find those sponsors to help us get connected to people in some of the top level positions, whether that be in the field of politics and or business. We're always searching. And so for us, it's always about, developing our manpower awareness sheets, creating those linkages, who knows whom, and then being brave enough to make sure that we connect the right people to help us make those asks, to get us connected and get us into the rooms that we would not otherwise be. And so those are some of the things that we try to do in staying connected and recruiting those top level leaders here, not only in our community, but throughout the state of Georgia.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. John Sumner says he's going to have to come check you out next time you visit his mom. He said definitely great wisdom today.
Now, John's my guy, and his dad, Everett Sumner. If you never had the opportunity to meet John's dad, you were missing a treat. Everett Sumner is one of the best men that I've ever had the opportunity to be around and to know. And when he moved to Georgia, we were able to look each other up. I used to tease John's dad. I said, if I get out of this Scout executive seat long enough in my office, and he was in my office, he'll take over and run it. But he was always a wealth of wisdom for me. And one of those guys that he would call me and I would call him. And when I called him, I felt like I was sitting at the seat, one of the masters of our movement. And I just listened. And I just want to say that to you, John. I still miss your dad a whole lot.
That's awesome. Any additional questions for Garrett? Garrett, any parting shots for the village?
Stay bold, stay confident. The mission isn't complete. We've got a lot of work to do. Know that you're built for this moment. Keep communicating with one another. Don't isolate yourself. You're a phone call away from talking to someone that could help you. Remember that. You're not at this alone. So don't be afraid to pick up the phone and talk, because everyone on this call wants to see you be the best version of yourself. So that's what I would want to leave to the village.
That's awesome. Garrett, thank you so much, man. We really appreciate you taking your time out to share some words with our group. And thank you all that are on the call this afternoon. I know we're in the middle of fall recruitment, but I was hoping that you all could take, 45 minutes to an hour to get some of this wisdom that Garrett was going to share with us. And he did not disappoint. So thank you all for joining us. Really appreciate you being on today. And we will see you all down at Skyline Trail. Have a wonderful day and enjoy the rest of your fall.
All right. Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity.
No problem.